Well, hello everybody. Welcome once again on the second Tuesday of the month to Start Stone. And let's see if this all works. So, hello, it's me. Who's watching today? Anybody out there? Well, I've got no viewers, according to the magical thing. Wonder if I've done this correctly. Anyway, so hello everybody in the world. It was working. Neshi's on. Hi, Neshi. Oh, wrong bit. There we go. Hi, Neshi. And hello, world. So, what we're going to talk about today. So, the last three posts. Oh, thank you, Neshi. The last three posts that I made on the fan pagey thing kind of follow a theme. Morning, Rob. I printed them out just to remind me. They're here. There was the well, so there was the one called I can't remember. I didn't print that bit out, but it's irrelevant. One about finding. They called it a religion, but it's more a spirituality. About discovering the spirits of the area, the land where you live. The one about listening. What was it called? Deep listening in the culture of speed. And the other one was, we imagine how it feels to be a character. Why can't we imagine how the land feels? And the three of them together a rugby player's triad, three things loved by the jury, the rugger. Okay, that's funny. Anyway. But you say anyway, where was I? They follow a theme. And the theme that runs through them for me is the fact that they all relate to the old ways, the ways our ancestors thought and felt. And in some ways, they're being re-spoken as new ideas, and they're really, really not. They are, like I say, the old ways, the old ideas, the old knowledge that our ancestors had and knew to be an innate truth that. Well, let's start with the first one. Who wrote this? Let me just see. It's in here somewhere. That was what I just called finding a regional cultus. It's quite difficult to say, but never mind. I can't find the lady's name who wrote this. Anyway, it'll be on the main page somewhere in the actual thing. So the way I've read it, the way it spoke to me, was this lady, this pagan in America, in the USA, having read and understood and studied um, the gods and goddesses and spirits, essentially of Europe. Sorry, Rob's just put another post up, and Christianity was too anthrocentric, possibly. Anyway, where was I? Yeah, studied the gods and goddesses and spirits of these lands, of Britain, Ireland, Europe, and she felt that they didn't relate to her because they didn't live in her lands. And that makes absolute sense, because the lands have their own spirits wherever they are. The river spirits, the spirits of the land and the trees, and they're all family, really. They're cousins and brothers and sisters all together, but they, like us, they just live in different places. And I liked what she was saying about discovering that, and then beginning to discover and learn about the spirits of her area through ritual and meditation, opening herself to contacting them contacting her. Then it was a really powerful piece, and I really urge everybody in the whole world to read it. Probably won't, but you can always hope. But as I say, it makes perfect sense. Now, once you start on a pagan spiritual path, regardless of what it may be called, whether it be Druidry, whether it be Wicca, whether it be something completely different, that in and of itself is irrelevant. We all have the same roots in the earth. We just do things in a slightly different way. We talk in a slightly different way, but we're all walking the same way, so to speak. So it's good. It's great. That was it. Thank you, Neshi. Thank you for reminding me what they were called. Train of thought is easily. Video froze. Oh dear. I wonder what that. I wonder what's going on there. Nope, video's good now. It's still good. I was just holding still. Ha 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 ha. That was funny. Or at least it was in my head. Anyway, where's my train of thought going? Basically, the ideas, the knowledge, the technical aspects, so to speak, in one way, it's good to discover those rituals, the knowledge of the spirits of the spirits, the gods, the goddesses of any land, of any region, whether it be Europe, whether it be USA, whether it be Iceland, um, Africa, but that that can help you discover the ways to discover the spirits that are where you live in your land on your little patch of earth, whether it be on a small plot of land with a house on it surrounded by all the others, or whether it be in 100 acres with a mountain and a river as part of it. Where you live has its spirits, and the knowledge of the ones from another land, for example, Europe, can help you discover the ones right where you live now, the spirits of your rivers and your mountains and your trees. You don't have to try and transpose a set of gods and goddesses and spirits um, from another land. You don't have to. There's no need. You have your own. They just need to be discovered. I'm just going to bring this one up from Neshi. The aspect really spoke to me. I realised that here on Turtle Island, indigenous people connect, some connect to the land, the spirit of the land, but not necessarily known by a goddess name. But the connection is similar to the pagan connection in Europe, and I would agree entirely with that. Entirely. Um, we have our own language of who we talk to, of who we connect with. We don't walk the same path, but we're walking the same way, if that makes sense. It kind of makes sense to me anyway. I know what I'm trying to say. Sometimes what I'm trying to say in my brain doesn't come out in quite the same way when I speak it. So it's a similar, it's all similar. And, oops, and we can all learn from each other's experiences within that as well. What we've learned, how we've discovered how to connect to those spirits: land, sea, sky, river, field, rock, mountain, tree, whether it be an individual spirit, a group of spirits, an overall spirit, however you want to describe it. Has anybody read a book by Neil Gaiman called American Gods? It's quite an interesting one. Essentially, people, travelers, immigrants from all over the world that end that end up in the USA at whatever point in the history of America, brought their gods with them, and aspects of their gods stayed there. It was quite an interesting idea, and in a way, I suppose that we can do that if we are connected to those gods and spirits. But if you're not naturally connected to those gods and spirits, then you don't have to connect with them if you don't feel drawn to them, because the spirits are everywhere. Everywhere. You can, if you wish to call them goddesses or gods or spirits, well, that's, I'm going to leave that as a personal choice thing. It's not for me to say. But they're everywhere. Wherever you go, there they are. And they're just, well, they're still the ones that are unknown are just waiting to be known. That's what I feel. They're waiting to be contacted. Hang on, what's going on here? Right. Oh, so what's going on here? So, what's right? This is what Rob said. The concept of monotheism is a very deep mystical theology, but is considered misunderstood and misrepresented, and has led to great suffering on this plane. Yes, I would agree with that. I'm not sure what you're saying no to, but anyway, but yeah, I suppose. But I agree with you, Rob, and that's people for you. People. It's difficult to make some statements without tarring everybody with the same brush. But those of them within the main monotheistic faiths, and we all know what they are, the one always seems to me the ones at the top are just the same as the ones at the top of our political leaderships, our corporate leaderships. Money and power tend to be at the forefront of their minds, and not the well-being of people and the earth and anything else, really. But that's just what I think. So monotheistic faiths in and of themselves, I don't feel are the issue. The issue is the people within them, and especially the ones deciding that theirs is the only way, theirs is the only truth, because, well, that's just plain wrong. There's no two ways, no other way of saying it. That's just wrong. There is no one truth when it comes to this. It's only what leads us to the divine. There are many paths to the divine, and not one of them is the right one. Only the right one for us at the time. And you can't impose your own thoughts and feelings upon anybody else, because that just leads to what we've got now and what we've done in the past. Anyway, so let's just bring that one up from Neshi. Goes back to how grandmothers and spirit express themselves to us humans. Yes, two-legged. It's all the same energy, spirit, just how we connect with it. Absolutely, absolutely. So what am I doing? What am I saying now? Rob hasn't read Neil Gaiman. Recommend it. It's very good. It's an interesting idea. Oh, in fact, anything that's been written by Neil Gaiman is brilliant. Has anybody read the Sandman comics? He's got loads of books. Yeah, American Gods. It's an interesting idea to wrap your head around. So, what was I saying? I do tend to get sidetracked, don't I? Anyway, so basically, the land is waiting for us to connect with it again. So are the rivers and the rocks and the trees and the sky, wherever it is you live on the earth. If you don't have a connection that feels natural to you, that feels right to you, and you're still searching, it's right there in front of you. All you have to do is ask for guidance and find the way to connect with that for yourself, which works for you, because there isn't. Yeah, no, I know you're joking, Rob. Um, yeah, whatever works for you. And you can often find the guidance within the old text, the knowledge that has already been written about. It can help guide you to find your own the spirits where you are. Or all you have to do is find the way to connect, which neatly brings me on to the next one, which was deep listening in the culture of speed. As you say, I looked over there because it's just down there now, which is another great point. I'm going to read this bit um, about this guy who wrote this, Paul Stoller, PhD. Deep listening in the culture of speed, and he was talking about his uh, field research in Africa, and a man had been treated for what seemed like a deadly illness, and an elder had told him that the man's soul had been stolen from his body, and if they didn't find it, the patient would die. So he accompanied the guy, the elder, to the outskirts of the village. Came across mounds of discarded millet husks. He sifted through the debris in search of the man's soul. Um, blah blah blah, and claimed that the man's soul had been liberated. Um, Something had gone wrong with our printout, so I can't read all of that bit. He asked Paul Stoller about, yeah, that bit's all mushed. Anyway, did you see it? And he says, see what? Did you feel it? Feel what? Did you hear it? Hear what? And the elder looked at him and shook his head. You look, but you don't see. You touch, but you don't feel. You listen, but you don't hear. It will take many years for you to learn how to see, feel, and hear the world. And that encompasses, that illustrates perfectly the issues, many of the issues, if not all of the issues, that our modern society has taken away from us, and it links to connecting that first article, that we're so disconnected. Are we? Not everybody, I know. The people I'm talking to now are not disconnected. We are actively working on connecting. in all the ways that we can. So anyway, so it's not us, but society in as a whole in general is so disconnected from the natural world and the spirits therein and all the wonders that it holds that it's just it doesn't know what it is anymore. It doesn't understand what it is to be alive in some ways. It doesn't know how to see, hear, and feel. It's so locked into itself that it's searching for something, and it's creating all this madness and chaos and destruction in the world, which has given us what we've got now. Although, having said that, with some of what's else has been going on, like Extinction Rebellion and the 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 school kids, protests. There's I think there's slightly more hope than there was. Maybe that much, but it's still more. It's more, which is better than less. So let's just take it from there. Maybe the change has started. Let's just hope. I'm going to keep hopeful, even though it's been really difficult recently. Anyway, let's not go down that path. So it doesn't know what to do because it has disconnected itself from the natural world. Humans are a natural being. We're physical. We're real. We're born of the same stuff as everything else in the world. The same stuff that comes from the stars. We are natural. We live, but that the modern society that I suppose started with the Industrial Revolution, the Enlightenment period, the whatever else were thought to be good ideas, has taken us away from our natural state of being and tried to turn us into something. I'm not really sure what anymore. Really not, but it's not connected. So with that disconnection, the society doesn't know how to see, feel, or listen. It's just screaming at itself in many ways. So, where am I going? I don't know. How do we begin to change that? Well, I think in a way we've already started with those couple of things that I've said. But from an individual point of view, from the individual perspective, we have to start by getting quiet. Stop. Okay. Getting quiet. We've all learned a great many things. We've all read a great many books and articles. We've spoken at length with people and discovered many things. That's necessary. But then we have to get quiet with ourselves. And this is what I feel. We have to get quiet with ourselves. And we can do this within a group. We can do this alone. Or both. You don't have to just do it once. It's best to do it as often as possible. But get quiet. Take the knowledge that we've learned, putting it into practice. And that, on a day-to-day thing with what are we doing with our lives and the earth, and how are we living. You know, that's one part. But all this is jumbled in my head. It was straight a little while ago, and now it's all mushed together. Trying to live as good a life as possible, and don't get me wrong, I don't mean good in the way that we're doing our best for ourselves, our families, the world around us. I'm not. That's a dangerous way to put it. I know. Um, Non-judgmentally with anybody who isn't thinking or acting the same as we. Just doing our best, living well, with respect, and because that's a big word, isn't it? Respect. We need more of that in society. Um, anyway, that's a slightly different tack, but that we, yeah, that we live in a good and respectful way. That we don't take more than we need, and we share as often as possible, and we take care of each other. That's basically what I mean. But then the other side is being quiet and learning how to listen again to the earth, or even to um, what people are saying, and understanding, taking it to another level where let's start that again, because listening to what people are saying can be lobbed in with the other bit. Listening to the land and what it's telling us, listening to the sky and the trees and the birds and all the beasts and the spirits. We have to get quiet with ourselves and not allow the intellectual side of things, which, although we need, like I say, we need that to discover a way to make that connection, to understand what we're learning on these other levels and what we're being told. We need that, but what we also need to do, which is slightly more difficult in some ways, to let that go and not concentrate on it and feel, open and feel and listen, and open your eyes and see, really truly see what's in front of you. And that's more than the intellectual recognition of things. It's so much more. It's when you're able to do that. Maybe we only get the opportunity to do it once, or a million times, or a billion times. That's not my point. My point is, if you do it once, you can do it again. Open your whole being to seeing and hearing and feeling life, the spirits that share the world with us, the waters and the land. Feel the sky, feel it with every fibre of your being, you'll know what I mean. You'll understand it. It's that's the thing that that goes beyond language. You can't explain it, and you can't explain how to do it. You can only get some guidance, and then basically we're on our own, and we have to discover ourselves how to do it. But we have to get quiet to do it first. And I think once we have done it, we're always open to it. And perhaps that's for those of us living on the earth that are open to these things, all this magic, that we can then quietly, I was going to say guide, but guide is the wrong word for me at this point. Quietly offer that knowledge, that experience, that other people may find it for themselves. If people ask for guidance in doing it, that's okay, give it to them, but it's wrong also to try and force people on into discovering it or learning about it, because that's, going down the path that we've done for centuries anyway, so we don't want to do that. Okay, enlightenment ought to be judged separately from industrialization. Yeah, agreed, but it's the best I could come up with at the time, Rob. But it's all part of the same issue, I think, personally. So we have to rediscover our old ways again, because our ancestors knew all this stuff. It was obvious to them. And hopefully it will all be obvious again. Because, I mean, this is another thought that popped into my head about this. Our rush towards technology when it's offered to us. Oh, what was it I was watching the other night? I can't remember, but it was talking about aliens. I haven't got a problem with that because they're there. Now, what was it? There was talking about alien civilizations. The best way to explore the universe would be with some kind of intelligent machine that can replicate itself and sustain itself and just go off into the galaxy and so on and so on. And that got expanded on into um, the merging the 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 well, just suppose humans and machines were merged together, and we became this other thing, whether it be a human mind within a machine of some description, or like the Borg on Star Trek. Just that I listened to that with absolute horror. I cannot imagine a worse scenario to aim for. That's just insane in my book. And I will write that down in a book if I have to and call it my book. why would we want to do that? I mean, I understand in some regards of the everybody, there's a fear over death and dying, um, but not. I'm not. It's a natural part of the cycle of, well, life. We're born, we die, we born again, we die, we're reborn in forms, in ways, whether it be um, a a an ascension to a higher realm, whether it be reborn to continue our journey on the earth or another earth. But the idea to that of merging with a machine just fills me with absolute dread. I you just I can't articulate how bad that sounds, how horrifying. You talk about really disconnecting ourselves from our true nature. I mean that's taking it so far down a bad road, a bad idea that I just can't even begin to imagine. I really can't. So I'm not doing that, and nobody's going to make me. Anyway, but you see what I mean? Just, oh, I can't even begin to think about it. So let's move on to the next one, which was this Paul Kingsworth article. We imagine how it feels to be a character. Why can't we imagine how the land feels? Well, I think we can. We just have to go back to those first two pieces. And we can imagine how the land feels. Once we open ourselves to it, once we connect with the spirits of the place of where we live, we can imagine how the land feels. In fact, we don't even have to imagine. The land will tell us how it's feeling. Again, this is something our ancestors always knew, not just knew, acted upon. They worked with the land. They didn't try to impose their own will over it. They worked with it. They worked with all the animals and spirits that lived on and in the land and the rivers. It would they were all connected, and that's where this disconnect that I keep banging on about has taken us. It's taken us to here where we're not connected. We can't feel. Some of us can. We don't feel, or society doesn't feel how the land is feeling. Well, we can. Again, let's go back to that second one. Get quiet, slow down, feel, see, hear. The land will tell us what we need to know. The spirits that live there will tell us what we need to know. They will guide us. They will help us. They want to, they're not there to work against us. They're not there to work for us. I'm going to bring this up. It's called empathy in a general sense. In the specific spiritual sense, there are many who are empaths and sensitives, and I believe we all have this empathic ability to different degrees. And yeah, again, I'd 100% agree with you. I think, yes, we are all born with it. We're all born with it. The the capacity for empathy, because we're living, breathing creatures, and we can. But it seems to me that, and again, I'm going to say, modern society is has been trying to stamp out that empathic ability, or the knowledge that it is there. Yeah, it's we've forgotten we've forgotten what it is to feel. We've forgotten what it is to understand what another is feeling. Society has separated us, not just from each other, but from the land, or not just from the land, but from each other. Um, so, but yeah, empathy. You're absolutely right, Nishi. Empathy is one of our most important attributes, because with it we can work together, we can help heal each other, we can sense when somebody's hurting, and then we can try and help. So yeah, empathy is is the best. Yeah, that's a really good way of putting it. Probably what I was trying to say all along, and you said it in a few sentences. I'll just go. I'll leave it to you. I'm a bit rubbish. I'm not. I'm only joking. So, yeah. But on the other hand, there are lots. I mean, I'm getting a bit down on society a bit, I suppose, in what I'm saying. But in some ways, I am. But I also know that there are many, many, many people out there that are actively working to make things better. And as I've said earlier, there is those, just with those two examples of the school children making protests, the Extinction Rebellion protests, and others that are around, that, and people giving of themselves and their own time without fanfare or reward, that are actively trying to make things better, trying to help the earth and the people on her. They're there. I know they're there, but we we need more. We need to remember. We need to live this, and I think this is where my point for this whole show is going. That we, not those of us that remember our connection to the land and to life and to the spirits and to the gods and goddesses, those that remember should, if possible, because it's always a choice. We don't have to. It's a choice. If we can, live it fully and truthfully and openly, regardless of any ridicule that's going to be thrown our way, because it usually does, it often is. But live it openly and truthfully so that it can show others that these other options, there are other ways of living that society is trying to forget, trying to separate us from. And then they can choose it too, or not as they wish. And if somebody asks us, then we can tell them. We can explain it to them. We can help them see it for themselves. And then they can discover it for themselves. And then, one by one, hopefully, the change that I keep wanting to see, and I kind of do see, will accelerate, and we'll see a world that isn't covered in concrete, that isn't full of pollution in the air and in the seas, where corporate greed isn't rife. Uh, one by one, we make a change. One by one. We can't do it all. We can't make it all happen individually. But we can each do our part, and collectively we can make things better. And not just for humans, but for every four-legged, every creature that flies, every tree, every creature that swims. We could, every inch of the earth, we can just make it better by remembering who we really, really, truly are, and what we really, truly are, and then living that truthfully. Not just intellectually, but really, truly feeling it on a level that cannot be articulated, that language, it transcends language. But whether it transcends it or not, I think it feels to me, it's always felt to me, that those who are ready to discover it will see it within us, and it will open that door to them that they can walk through should they choose. And I think that they would choose. Anyway, I've been rattling on and I've missed a couple of things here. So, so that, where's the thing? There it is. So, those who return to those indigenous ways, though you won't see it in traditional Judaism. My rabbi is Selknate Meshuggah. Yes, crazy or goofy person. It's a good thing to be. Oops. Humans are hardwired to protect what we love. We just have to remember our loving connection to the earth and to each other, to remember our empathy for each other. Yes, absolutely, Nashi. Absolutely. We agree on pretty much everything at the moment, don't we? I think we generally do. Veneration of Mary has no scriptural basis, but was introduced to the Western Church in the 12th century by St. Bernard. Many of his practices were pagan druidic. The quote on the cover photo in my group is his. Yes, St. Bernard. Yes. Ask any Irish pagan, and they'll tell you that Mary is um, an obvious aspect of the mother goddess. Anyway, we have Paradise put up a parking lot. No. uh, anyway, where are we? We humans make this more complicated than need be. We are a strange species. Oh, aren't we just? Aren't we? Aren't we? Aren't we? Yes, we are indeed. It's not about, yeah, it's all about feeling, it's all about empathy, it's all about being alive and everything that that entails without greed, without all those negative aspects. We don't need them. It's all there for us. All we have to do is relax. You know, we're constantly told on TV, on commercials and adverts here, there, and everywhere, wherever they are. You need this. You must have this. You must be this. If you don't have this, then what's wrong with you? And so on and so on and so on. Yeah, and we don't really need much of that at all, do we? What we need is each other. What we need is our connections again to the earth. What we need is to empathize with everything around us. And then everything will fall into place. But yeah, we are a really, really bizarre species. Oh well. But shall we still have hope? I vote yes, because I really don't think I could cope with no hope at all. I really don't think I could cope. What time is it? Oh, well, I've been rattling on for long enough. So, well, there you go, everybody. That's it for this month. Go out, be you. Took you a minute to realise it was Joni Mitchell. No, it didn't. I knew that was Joni Mitchell. Oh, but then there was the cover version by Vanessa Paradis in the 80s, I believe. Or it could have been the 90s. I think it was the 80s. Anyway, there you go. So, yeah. What shall I end with? How shall I end this? Go be you. Don't overthink things. Feel and connect. And when you get stuck, ask for help. There's plenty of help out there for us. Plenty. All we have to do is ask. Yeah, that's right. Nelly say relax. Well, thank you, Neshi. That's very kind of you. So, anyway, yeah. Go out, live, connect with the earth and the sky and the land, and just be true to who you are. And if you're not sure, then I think a journey of discovery is in order. And not just for us, but for everybody else. So I am going to say ta-ta for now. And until next month, when I might get some crystals together, because we ain't talked about them for like a million years. So I'll go and find some really cool stuff and let's have a chat. So until next month, I shall say adieu, au revoir, ciao. Bamamina. See, I do listen, Nashi. And I will see you next month. So I'm going to go. I'm going to press this button and say ta-ta. So bye, everybody. Have a great rest of the day. And peace. Peace and blessings to everybody.